Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is the final race in the regular season for season number 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series. We are here at the world's biggest motorsports stage, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for the raised dies and tubing 400, a 32-lap race around this 2.5-mile speedway in Speedway, Indiana, to determine the 16-car field that will make up the chase for Season 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And coming into today's event, we already know 10 drivers who will be guaranteed into the chase because they have won races throughout the regular season. So I'm going to go ahead and explain the whole chase scenario right now. Locked into the chase coming into the final race of the regular season are Alexander Rowe, Elijah Gordon, Al Lagasse, Isaac Nichols, Ricky Stevenson, Blaine Keys, our last winner here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, by the way, Caleb Hoffman, Cameron Garlington, Matt Dalio, and Cody Sill. Those are the 10 drivers locked into the chase, and they have nothing to worry about today except getting some more points so they can get more playoff points for the chase. We're going to be awarding playoff points at the end of the race to the 16 playoff drivers. And whoever has the most points of those 16 playoff drivers will get 20 points. Second in points will get 15. And third will get 14, and so on, along with 2 bonus points for each win they gain during the regular season. Now, we're going to assume that we're going to get a new winner here today, so we're going to say that 5 drivers are going to make it into the chase on points alone. But if one of those 10 drivers win here today, it's going to mean that 6 guys are going to make it into the chase on points alone. Which means that quite a few of these guys are going to make it complicated for me, because these guys have been extremely close in the points all season long, and there are 20 drivers. If we do get a double winner in this race, there are 20 drivers who can make it into the chase on points alone here today. 20 and have a possible chance of doing so, but we're going to say only 5 of them are going to do it. So here's how they go in the points of those 20 drivers. This is not including any of the guys who are already locked into the chase, so these are just guys without wins who are not locked in. Ace Garcia, in the number 23, comes into today's race the points leader in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. He has 359 points. He has 36 points ahead of the last guy who was locked in, or the last guy who is in the chase right now, not locked in. The last guy who is in the chase right now, Richard Kinghart, who is the 6th guy. So if the chase were to have ended at Nashville, Richard Kinghart would have made the chase. But Ace Garcia is 36 points ahead of Kinghart. Trey Bartow is 32 points ahead of Kinghart. And those 2 guys, they're probably going to make it into the chase. I do not see there being too much of an issue for those 2 guys making it in. And as long as they probably get a top 20 here today, they should be just fine. Daniel Bouchard, Marty Johnson, both 15 points ahead of Richard Kinghart. And Stuart Gratton is 4 points ahead of Richard Kinghart coming into today's event. Richard Kinghart is the 6th guy in points of those guys who have not won races yet this season. And if we were to have one of those 10 drivers who has already won this season and to win here today, Kinghart would, theoretically be in. But the points are going to change at the end of the race, so it's not guaranteed that Richard Kinghart will make it in if we get a double winner. Daniel McMillan is 2 points behind Kinghart. Noah Cars is 4 points behind Kinghart. Chris Skinlard is 8 points behind. Matt Tuck, 9 points behind. Zachary Fitzwater, 11 points behind. Jonathan King, 15 points behind. Jordan Lopez, 18 points behind. Julius Anderson, Herjalar Van Alonso, who starts on the pole for today's race, by the way. They are both 23 points behind. Garrett Sonor, who won this race in Season 2, 29 points behind. Reagan Whitlock, 32 points behind. Eli Bright, 38 points behind. Ryan Madden, 39 points behind. And Adam Lewis, 41 points behind the cutoff mark coming into today's event. But if we get a new winner, that cutoff mark is going to move up by 4. And with all the guys, changing in the point standings at the end of the race, who knows? I mean, it's going to be crazy determining those 5 guys that are going to make it in on points alone guaranteed, and 6 if we get another two-time winner, or maybe even a three-time winner this season. It's very complicated. I do not believe it's ever been this complicated coming into this regular season race, but I will guarantee you that we will figure it out at the end of the race. I just might not necessarily know it once the race ends at that exact moment. Now, once I go in, get all the standings figured out and the points put into the spreadsheet, I can tell you the 16 guys who are going to be in the chase. But after the race is over, I might not be able to instantly tell you. And so please, try not to take my word if I say something at the end of the race, because lots of times I mess that up. Anyways, after 5 minutes of talking about the chase, it's time to fire these engines up for the final race of the regular season in season number 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Let's head trackside for the Kabam to fire the engines for the Rays Dyes and Tubing 400.
Drivers, start your engines!
And a great command there to fire these guys up. These guys are ready to make it into the chase. And we got 26 drivers in the field who have not won races yet this season. And for those 26 drivers, if they win, they're in the chase. And for some guys, that's the only chance they have. Now, as the starting lineup rolls on the bottom of your screen, the drivers with an asterisk next to their name are locked into the chase coming into today's event. They have nothing to worry about today. But this guy right here, Hair Larvin Alonso, he pretty much needs a win to lock himself into the chase, and he's in the best position to do so at the moment, on the pole for the number 10. Alongside him, it's the Daytona 500 champion of Cameron Burlington. He was the first driver to lock himself in the chase. He's breathed easy for the past 14 races. He can breathe easy here today, but then he's going to have to race pretty hard once we get to Bristol next Wednesday. So number 2, we got ourselves number 37 of Stuart Gratton, and points leader Ace Garcia. Now with Gratton, he is 4 points ahead of the cutoff point coming into today's event, but if he gets a strong finish, he should have no issues making it into the chase. Daniel Bouchard's also up there. He's 15 points ahead of the cutoff. If he has a good day, he's good to go. Elijah Gordon's already locked in number 5. We got ourselves 19 of Richard Kinghorn, who is the cutoff point. Whereas if even Kinghorn has a good day, he'll probably make it in, but can't guarantee anything, because this is Indianapolis, one of the crazier places we go to. We get a lot of crashes here sometimes, and just never really know. Chris Skinlart, he pretty much needs a win, but he does have a chance of making it on points alone. He's 8 points behind Kinghorn coming into today's event, so he's got a chance. Garrett Senor, he's another one of those guys who needs a win, alongside our last winner here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, Blaine Keys, in the number 48. There's 6 drivers in the field who do not have a chance of making it on the points. I know a few of those guys are Anthony Lopez, Tristan Allen, John Arndt, and Jesse Turner. Those 4 guys are not locked in, or cannot lock in on points at the end of the day. They have to win, and that's their only chance at fighting for a championship. So we'll just have to see what happens. It's going to be a crazy one, but it's going to be a good one as well. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, definitely one of the best places we go to. And the green flag is out here at the Brickyard. Lap number 1, led by Stuart Gratton in the number 37. Daniel Bouchard to the inside of him for the lead, with his teammate Richard Kinghart right behind. A lot of passing there on that first lap of the race. Uh-oh, Gratton's going to be hung outside. 3 wide, exiting turn number 2. Usually that does not work, and somebody in the wall back in there, and around goes Caleb Hoffman, exiting turn 2. However, the caution's going to come out. I thought we were going to stay green. Jesse Turner involved in the number 43. He's one of those drivers who needs a win if he's going to make it into the chase. He has not made the chase in Season 2. And he is torn up right now in the number 43. The caution will come out. A very good opportunity for these guys to come down the pit lane early on. Lap number 2, the race back to the line will be led by the number 11 of Daniel Bouchard. Caleb Hoffman, he's already locked into the chase, so no worries for him. And Jesse Turner, that's probably the end of his season, his end of his championship run at least here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Definitely a tough season for Turner, and it's been that way ever since he won the Season 2 championship over 2 years ago. He's not even won a Chick-fil-A Cup Series race in over 2 years. And Turner, another disappointing season. It's not going to end in the championship this year. They were 3 wide exiting the corner. They bumped around a little bit. And, they're going to fall to the back right now. Now, Turner should be able to continue in the 43, but winning this race doesn't look too likely right now, so we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. Another thing I did forget to mention, and you might have noticed this by now, you probably have, there are no part-timers in today's event, and that is because this is the last race before the regular season, and I'm doing this so that the part-timers all race the same amount of races with each other. So, no part-timers here today in Indianapolis, so that these full-time guys can race for a win and race for the chase spots. So if you finish last here today, you're going to get 5 points towards the championship instead of 1. So even that plays a big factor into the championship and who makes it into the chase, because normally you get 1 point if you finish last. If you crash and you get enough damage to get yourself knocked out, you get 1 or get 5 points, and that could be very pivotal for those guys right there on the cutoff point. I gotta say this right now. You guys are not gonna know the 16 chase drivers until I go in and type in all the points for you guys at the end of the video. It's just not gonna happen before we do that, because I cannot determine it just by looking at the results of the race. It's practically impossible for me to do that. So just keep that in mind. You're not gonna know until we go and actually figure out all the points. Anyways, Ace Garcia, who comes into this race the points leader, I'm pretty sure he's going to make it into the chase. He's leading the field right now. Won the race off of the pit lane from Daniel Bouchard, Richard Kinghart, and Garrett Sonora, along with Cameron Garland. That's the top 5. So we're ready to review the crash here that brought out the first caution in the raised eyes and tubing 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, this was entering turn number 2. Jesse Turner got filed out of line 3 wide. You see Adam Lewis and John Arndt, they shoot up the racetrack. They get into each other, which sends Jesse Turner up the racetrack and into the outside wall. Turner bounces off the outside wall into Caleb Hoffman in the number 14, who then gets into Eli Bright. Eli Bright's another one of those guys who could definitely use a win here today if he wants to make it into the chase. We could have avoided a caution for this. I mean, we've had worse crashes than this, and the caution not come on here in Indianapolis, but the caution still came out as Hoffman was sideways on the racetrack in the number 14. Going to replay this one in real time following the number 43 of Jesse Turner. And a tough break for Turner. He finished second in this race last year. Don't believe he's going to get second or even a win here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hoffman around on the 14, but no worries for him. He's already locked into the chase, and that's just the way it goes sometimes for these guys here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ace Garcia won the race off of the pit lane, and he will restart this race in the first position when we come back here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the final race in the regular season for Season 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series.
Rolling, Cody Smart and Emily Anderson bouncing off each other.
Back here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and all 36 drivers who started this race are still on the racetrack, I do believe, and on the lead lap as well. So all these guys still in theoretical contention to win today's event. Number 23 of Ace Garcia is yet to win this season, but he comes into this race the points leader, so making it into the chase shouldn't be too much of a chore for him. Right behind him, it's Daniel Bouchard, and if he can get that finish right there in the number 11, he should be good to go as well. Number 19 of Richard Kinghart, he's right on the cutoff point. But a good finish for him will also be beneficial. We got Garrett Sonora on the 6th. He pretty much needs to win, especially considering that all these guys who are up there in the point standings are running around him. Cameron Garlington runs in the 5th position, and it's Trey Barta, the winner of this race in season number 1. Stuart Gratton in 37. If both of those guys get good runs, they should be able to make it into the chase on points alone. Noah Cars, Cody Sill, Anthony Lopez, and Reagan Whitlock round out, I do believe, the top 11 for this race. Garrett Sonora won here in season number 2, so he knows how to get it done. But Sonora has not won in this series since season 4 in race 2. So it's been over 2 seasons, well over a year for Garrett Sonora in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Back underway here in the Rays Dies M Tubing 400. And Ace Garcia holds the lead in the number 23 for now. Absolutely love these single file restarts, especially when we come to a place like Indianapolis. This is definitely one of the best places for a single file restart in my opinion. Because double wide, and especially here in Indianapolis, if they go double wide, you know, sometimes they go 3 wide, and that just creates a bunch of stuff we don't really want to happen in the race. So when they're single file, when they start single file, they usually keep it pretty calm, at least for a few laps. So you see Daniel Bouchard there get around Ace Garcia for the lead, and Richard Kinghorn. I mean, both of these Joe Gibbs Racing guys, Joe Gibbs Racing is yet to win a race this season between Bouchard, Duthit, Kinghart, and Anderson. But they are doing pretty good in the points, at least with these two guys. And Kinghart and Bouchard definitely running very strong right now. Here comes the 23 of Ace Garcia back to the inside of the 11. They're 3 wide again. Senor, Barto, and Gratton 3 wide off of turn 2. I think that's the second time Gratton's been 3 wide through that corner in this race, but he got out of it alive, and he's running 5th right now. That's exactly what Stuart Gratton wants. He wants to make it into the chase. And Trey Barto, he's got a very good chance of making it into the chase. 32 points ahead of the cutoff coming into today's event. So he should be able to make it, especially if he gets a run in the top 10. Same goes for Ace Garcia. Garcia comes into this race the points leader. He runs 2nd right now behind the 19 of Richard Kinghart. And if Kinghart were to win, that really wouldn't mess things up too much for those guys who are right on the bubble in the points on that cutoff mark, because Kinghart is on the cutoff mark. And all the other guys that are ahead of him in the points are running very well here today. Garcia, Gratton, Barto. Only other guy I don't really see is Marty Johnson, and even he's doing pretty decent right now, midway through the field in the 32. Marty Johnson won here in season number 4. Bouchard's actually falling back right now in the number 11, stuck on the outside lane. That is not good for the number 11, but he is 15 points ahead of the cutoff. But you got guys like Noah Cars who aren't too far behind that cutoff. Noah Cars is 4 points behind Richard Kinghart coming into today's event. And Cars has a good chance of possibly moving ahead of Bouchard and getting into the chase on points. Anyways, Ace Garcia, he wants to grab his first career win on Napafan here today. I can tell you that. He wants to make it into the chase on a win. And he wants to stay in the points lead as well, because the points leader heading into the chase will get 20 playoff points. And those playoff points are going to carry over into each round. So keep that in mind for Ace Garcia. He's got a good chance at having a very good advantage once the chase begins. But one little note about the name of this race, the Rays Dies in Tubing 400. That name was given to me by Cameron Gaju. And his 2 cars for JTG Doherty Racing are right now running 1-2 as they get around Ace Garcia. Cameron Garlington now out front in the 47. Stuart Gratton running 2nd. And Trey Barto on the inside lane running in the, will be running in the 3rd position once he gets around the 23, entering 1. Cody Sill, the Las Vegas winner, is already locked into the chase along with Cameron Garlington, and Sill is moving his way through the field. Zachary Fitzwater up to 5th, and Noah Cars is 6th. And Elijah Gordon trying to grab his 3rd win of the season in the number 5. He's running in the top 10 right now with Daniel McMillan right behind him in the 95. And McMillan's one of those guys who, if he surpasses Kinghart and gets a couple positions in between him and the 19, that 95 can make the chase on points alone. It's been a very odd season for Daniel McMillan, up and down for this team, but right now they're right in the middle, right near the cutoff for the chase. And if they get a strong enough run, they may be able to qualify for the playoffs. Trey Barto, with help from his teammate Zachary Fitzwater on the inside lane. Igor Barreto definitely has a strong team but only one of their drivers is locked in, and that's Caleb Hoffman in the number 14, who won in a fuel strategy race at Pocono. And this racetrack's very similar to Pocono, both 2.5-mile flat ovals. Well, Pocono's not really an oval, but this is not really an oval either, but still, I think SHR definitely has something figured out here. They got 2 of their cars running in the top 5 right now. And Trey Bartow, you know, if I'm Igor Barreto, I'm the owner of this team, I'm going to give orders to Bartow to still get a top 5, but maybe let Fitzwater win the race, because Bartow can easily make it in on points. Fitzwater, a win would be the best solution for the 41. It's going to take quite a bit for Fitzwater to make it into the chase on points. Fitzwater currently runs in the 3rd position. It's been over a season since he's won, but it's not been too long compared to some other guys. Trey Bartow's last win in this series was, I believe, at Boston last season. So it's actually been less than a season for Trey Bartow, but still, if these guys are winless this season, they would love to get one here today at Indianapolis. Noah Cars has never won before a Napa fan, and of all the guys that run in this series, he probably has made the most starts on this channel without getting a win. Trying to think about what I was going to say there. Could not get it out of my mouth, but the number 3 in Noah Cars have a chance of winning here today. And pit stops for the 2nd time today are beginning. And a crash, a massive crash in turn number 4. Jay Jefferson, Matt Dalio, Isaac Nichols, Adam Lewis, and the 13 of Eli Bright. I am not sure what happened to cause that massive accident. Alonso, the pole sitter, majorly torn up in the 10. Skinlard involved in the 21. Stevenson might have some damage in the 38. Wow. And right when these pit stops are beginning, and you see Jesse Turner, he's in the pit lane right now. I do not believe these guys are going to go a lap down, and I believe they're going to be the leaders once this whole thing cycles through. And look at who's here. That's John Arnott in the 24. He needs a win. That's his only chance in making it into the chase, is by winning here today. Now, Elijah Gordon's going to win the race off of these guys. You know, even Turner needs to win as well, and I believe these guys are going to be put up front once we restart, because they came in right before the caution came out. They were able to get their service, and the rest of the field most likely coming in this time, they should be able to cycle to the lead, and they in fact will. So how about that for those guys? It worked out perfectly for Elijah Gordon, Alexander Rowe, Julius Anderson, another one of those guys who probably should try to get a win here today. John Arndt, Caleb Hoffman, and Jesse Turner, both those guys who were involved in the first crash earlier today here at Indianapolis. Anyways, the rest of the field down the pit lane: Cameron Garlington, Trey Bartow, Zachary Fitzwater, Noah Cars, and Stuart Gratton. We'll see where they come out, I should say, in relation to the rest of the field. You're going to see these guys here. They're passing them on the pit lane right now. But it is possible these guys might beat them. No. Elijah Gordon will be the new leader here in the Raised Dies and Tubing 400 when we restart. And all 6 of these guys are going to drive around our leaders. So Cameron Garlington will restart in 7th, Fitzwater in 8th, Bartow in 9th, and McMillan in 10th. Anyways, had a massive crash in turn number 4 here at Indianapolis. Let's see what happened to bring up the second caution here in the Raised Dies and Tubing 400. When it comes to Hergelarv and Alonso and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one word comes to mind, and that's aggressive. In the Indianapolis 250, Alonso, who was battling for the lead, I do believe, in that race, clipped the points leader Matt Dalio just like this, only at the other end of the racetrack. To send him around, Matt Dalio was battling for the championship in that race and lost it because of the accident. You see Adam Lewis going to the inside wall, and Alonso comes back up the racetrack into Jay Jefferson and Eli Bright. Then Adam Lewis goes up the racetrack into Isaac Nichols and Matt Dalio. Fortunately for Nichols and Dalio, they're already locked into the chase. You see the 83 goes flipping as a result of the accident. And a couple of rolls for the number 83 BK Racing driver. Simon Nichols, the owner of this team. He's probably going to get both drivers into the chase. Fortunately for him, this guy's already in. Those are the only 6 drivers involved, fortunately, but that's a tough break for our pole sitter, Adam Lewis, Eli Bright, and Jay Jefferson, who practically needed wins here today to make it into the chase. It's not going to happen here today for Season 6. Replay this one in real time following Adam Lewis in the 22. He's going to get sent into the inside wall, come back up the racetrack right into Nichols and Dalio. And we've seen a lot of crashes like this here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Just the nature of this racetrack, one of the crazier places we go to, like I said earlier on. And that is the reason why. On board, the number 22 of Adam Lewis for this accident. He's going to get clipped, put in the inside wall, and back up the racetrack in the number 22, right into Isaac Nichols and Matt Dalio. You see the 83 go upside down. And just a wild ride for all those drivers involved, and a tough one for the 4 drivers involved that were not locked into the chase. Anyways, after this commercial break, we'll return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the final race in the regular season for Season 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series.
While cars, tracks, and drivers may change, the smooth citrus taste that drives us remains the same. Only Mellow Yellow.
Back here at the greatest racetrack in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Raised Eyes and Tubing 400, the last race of the regular season in Season 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. To determine the 16-car field for the chase at the end of the day. But a couple of guys who were already locked in are Elijah Gordon and Alex NRLOA. They're right now 1-2 after they came down the pit lane right when the caution came out. And those 6 guys, you see, the top 6, they got the advantage because of that caution coming out right when they hit the pit lane. Julius Anderson, John Arndt, who absolutely must have a win here today, runs 4th. Caleb Hoffman already locked into the chase. Jesse Turner, another one of those guys who needs a win. Cameron Garlington, Zachary Fitzwater, Trey Bartow, and Daniel McMillan round up the top 10. For Bartow, McMillan, and Gratton, and even Cars. I mean, we got a lot of guys running up front that are up there in the points, so it might not necessarily be too good for McMillan or Cars with all these other guys running up front with them, so they might not be locked in. If they get a top 10 finish here today, but I can guarantee you that if Ace Garcia or Trey Bartow finished in the top 10, they're locked into the chase. Guaranteed. Absolutely guarantee it. No question. I bet my life on that, if they finish in the top 10. Elijah Gordon still out front, but Alex NRLOA trying to get to the inside of him. Not going to happen. If you remember last year, the HERS Elimination Series came here, and Elijah Gordon won on the outside lane coming to the line. So Elijah Gordon knows how to get it done in these very types of race cars. There goes Julius Anderson. Anderson would love to get a win. If he were to get a win, he'd definitely be in the chase, of course. And he might need to get a win today, considering the fact that all of these guys who are up there in the point standings are running up front right now. I do believe Jesse Turner is a little bit slow in the 43. It was a shot in the dark, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen for the 43 of Jesse Turner. Just not fast enough to contend with everybody else. Elijah Gordon is still out front in the 5. Then it's Julius Anderson, John Arndt, and Caleb Hoffman, the top 4. Zachary Fitzwater, Hoffman's teammate, and Hoffman's other teammate, Trey Bartow, round out the top 6. And I believe we've had another accident on the racetrack. I do not see anybody around, however. The number 17 of Jordan Lopez with damage in the Roush Fenway machine. And we're racing back to the line once again. I'm wondering if Jesse Turner might have had something to do with this accident. This is great news for Elijah Gordon, who's going to cycle right to the lead on the same strategy as everybody else now. So, great news for the 5. Great news for John Arndt as well. He's going to come to the line second. And John Arndt has a very good chance of winning this race now, because he's going to be right up front here in a late race restart. Elijah Gordon is the leader. And I believe Reagan Whitlock and Jordan Lopez, a couple of guys who needed to win or needed to get very good runs and have other guys have very bad runs. if they wanted to make it into the chase. It does not look like they're going to make it into the chase here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Somebody blowing up. That's Cameron Garlington in the 47. For a moment there, I thought that was Stuart Gratton, but it's not. It's Garlington, the Daytona 500 champion. He is already locked into the chase, but he may not get too many playoff points heading into the chase because he is deep in the points coming into today's event. And that one win, clinging him on to the chase, it's going to give him 2 bonus points, along with maybe the 2 bonus points he'll get along with that. So he'll have probably 4 playoff points coming into the chase, possibly. Anyways, the leader is Elijah Gordon. Are they going to come down the pit lane here? I believe they will, because if they come down here, I don't know if they can make it to the end. They might not be able to do that. We're just going to have to see. This could become a fuel strategy race, a fuel mileage race, because I believe this is right on the line of these guys being able to make it to the end. Elijah Gordon leads the field down with John Arndt, Caleb Hoffman, Julius Anderson, and Trey Bartow, the top 5. The number 5 has a pretty high up pit stall compared to the rest of the guys he's running around. And we'll see where he comes out in relation to everybody else. Would like to apologize for there not being too much racing in this video, but these pit stops, every little thing that goes on, very important towards the championship. So definitely want to watch for these guys here and see what happens coming off the pit lane. Cameron Garlington, he's going to be done for the day in the 47. I don't believe they're going to be able to get back out on the racetrack. And I believe John Arndt, man, he wants to win the race off. I don't know if he did. Is it going to be Elijah Gordon or is it going to be John Arndt? They're going to say John Arndt won the race off the pit lane. And John Arndt, this is definitely one of the biggest comeback stories if we're ever going to see it. John Arndt, one of the lowest guys in the points. He needs to win. He cannot make it into the chase on points alone. But he is in the best spot right now, in the lead in the number 24. I'm not sure if Elijah Gordon beat him, though. I'm just going to have to see. But anyways, it'll either be John Arndt or Elijah Gordon leading the field to the green flag when we restart. But first, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the 3rd caution here today in the Rays Dyes and Tubing 400. Well, this was a result of Jesse Turner, but not in the way I thought it would be. They were 3 wide. Turner tried to get to the inside of Whitlock and King. And Jonathan King and Reagan Whitlock just got too close for comfort. Actually, Turner moved up on the 78 a little bit there. And around they go down the front stretch. And that 78 sideways on the racetrack, triggering the caution lights. I don't know if Jordan Lopez was involved in this crash or not. I do not believe he was. So I think this was it. Reagan Whitlock going around down the front stretch here at Indianapolis. But Jesse Turner actually tried to go to the inside 3 wide, and that's what caused that situation. Jonathan King, another one of those guys who needs a win to fit back in there. A lot of these guys back in here really haven't talked about too much today that need wins. Anthony Lopez and the 2 of Tristan Allen, they've been in the back of the field this whole race, and they need wins. So it doesn't look like it's going to be those guys going to the chase this season, unfortunately, and it doesn't look like Whitlock's going to make it either. Going to replay this in real time. 78 in the outside wall. As Turner just moved up on him slightly, Whitlock reacted, and Jonathan King was to his outside, and around went the 78. An unfortunate day for the Furniture Row Racing driver, Nathan Stapleton, the owner of this team. They did not get a win, and I do not believe either of their drivers will make it into the chase. But, hey, might still get a win before the season ends. Remember, Matt Tuck drove for this team last season, did not make the chase, but he did get a win in the chase at the Rockingham Motor Speedway. So it might happen to Whitlock or Madden this season. But anyways, John Arndt officially won the race off the pit lane. He needs to win. And if he's going to win, he's going to have to defeat Bad Luck pretty good. This number 24 has never won in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series before. It is probably the worst number ever to drive in this series. But John Arndt has the capability of changing that here today. Will he be able to get the victory? We're just going to have to find out. No commercial break. We're going to get right to the restart here in the Rays Dyes and Tubing 400. Coming to 9 laps to go in the Rays Dyes and Tubing 400. This thing closing down fast at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it's been a lot of yellow today. We had 3 cautions already on lap 23 of the race. And another big factor here in this one is, will these guys be able to make it to the end without coming down the pit lane again? I think a similar situation happened last year. Jonathan Skimnicki and Jesse Turner were able to stay out longer than the rest of the guys, and we might see a similar situation in this race. Only that time, I believe Skimnicki and Turner were actually leading the field, so it really wasn't too dramatic. It was still dramatic, but not too dramatic. Anyways, John Arndt absolutely needs a victory here today if he wants to make it into the chase. If he does that, that throws everybody off the hook for those guys trying to make it in on points. But John Arndt does not care about that. He wants to make it so that all 4 Hendrick drivers make it into the chase. He wants to do that for John Andrews, I can tell you that. Elijah Gordon, his teammate right behind him, Caleb Hoffman, Julius Anderson, Trey Bartow, Daniel McMillan, Alexander Rowe, Noah Carr, Stuart Gratton, Marty Johnson, Zachary Fitzwater. Who's it going to be? We're just going to have to find out in 9 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Anderson definitely needs a win as well, I do believe, because considering that Bartow, McMillan, Cars, Gratton, and Johnson are all running up front, same with Bouchard and Ace Garcia, they're all in the top 15 right now. I mean, Anderson, oh, another big crash down the back! And Garrett Zinor is going to go without a chase spot yet again. Massive damage on the number 6. Matt Dalio involved as well. It's crazy. Coming back to the line, the number 5 of Elijah Gordon has gotten around his teammate John Arndt, and Elijah Gordon will lead lap number 24. Now, traditionally, this race has been 24 laps, but today, it's 8 laps longer, and we're going to have another restart in this race. I'm telling you, these guys, it's fighting for those chase spots. Oh, and another big crash down the front stretch. Reagan Whitlock, Chris Skinlart, Tristan Allen, and Ricky Stevenson. And Ryan Madden as well on the 77. My goodness. We had 6 cautions at Richmond. I do not believe we're going to be able to break that here today at Indianapolis, but definitely a very high volume of cautions here today at the Brickyard. A little bit more than normal. And these guys, the reason why they're racing hard is because they know that their only chance of getting in is winning and getting up front. And a lot of those guys who needed good finishes started in the back for this race. And that's why you're seeing all these crashes here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now, these guys should be able to make it to the end without coming in again. So I would expect these guys to stay out here. Elijah Gordon still out front in the 5. He's trying to grab his 3rd win of the season. And that would be 3 wins, 6 bonus playoff points on top of the playoff points he would get in the point standings, and he would be up there in the point standings if he were to win here today. So Elijah Gordon, he could be the number 1 seed heading into the chase if he could get the win. But a lot of guys behind him need wins. They're going to be battling hard for it. Julius Anderson, John Arndt, Daniel McMillan, they could definitely use a win here today. Trey Bartow, I think he's going to make it into the chase. Ace Garcia as well, doing pretty good in the number 23. Let's go ahead and see what happened to Garrett Zenor and Matt Dalio. And along with those guys, another crash happened with Skinlart, Whitlock, Stevenson, Allen, and Madden. Well, 3 wide exiting turn 2s, like 4 wide exiting turn 4 at Daytona. And Anthony Lopez caught up in this one. He definitely needed a win, and so did Garrett Zenor. Matt Dalio, I mean, if it weren't for the win he got at Rockingham, he would be out of the chase as well, but fortunately for Dalio, he has already won this season, so he is locked into the chase. But those 3 guys there, majorly torn up, especially Garrett Zenor in the number 6. And we're just going to quickly replay this other crash here that happened between Stevenson and Duthit, I believe, possibly. Do not remember Duthit being involved in this crash. Might have been Tristan Allen coming in fast on Ricky Stevenson, and yes, that is what happened. You're going to see the 2 is going to slide up here, I do believe, into the 38. They barely get into each other, and oh my goodness, that was a hard hit for Ricky Stevenson. They were coming full speed, and right where the pit road wall is, that 38 hit. And a massive impact for Ricky Stevenson. We're going to replay that one in slow-mo. A very hard crash for the Texas winner, who is already locked into the chase, fortunately for him. And what makes this crash so interesting, there was hardly any contact. I mean, Allen, he could have easily avoided this one, but he just barely got into the 38. They could have saved it, but they did not. And Allen got into this 38, and this 38 hits this pit road wall. Oh my goodness. Right in the Ryan Madden, Chris Skinlart, and the 38 upside down. That thing violently whipped around as it hit the pit road wall there. See Reagan Whitlock back in here. He gets caught up in the 78 right into his teammate Ryan Madden. And you see Skinlart and Allen involved as well. Just going to replay this one more time. This 38. Definitely one of the hardest hits of the season. Right there as he hit the pit road wall, and upside down goes the front row racing driver of Ricky Stevenson. Reagan Whitlock involved, Tristan Allen, Chris Skinlart, and Ryan Madden. Those 4 drivers needed wins. They're not going to get it here today. But so same thing goes with Sid Noor. He was involved in the crash before that. Sid Noor is not going to make it into the chase for the 2nd straight season. But Matt Delia already won, so he's good. And same with Ricky Stevenson, so no worries on those guys. Anyways, after this commercial break, we'll get to the restart here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hopefully it'll be the last restart of the race. And we can get this thing finished so we can determine the chase field for Season 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series.
The NRLOA Turkey Hill Series Season number 4 will be broadcast on CH Productions 14 for 2017. Be sure to check it out this year.
There are a lot of guys rooting for Elijah Gordon right now, and those are the guys who are just on the bubble trying to make it into the chase, who would love to push their way in. And if Elijah Gordon were to win, we would have 6 drivers make it into the chase on points alone. 6 of them! That's a record for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. I mean, 5 in of itself is a record in a 26 race season. But Elijah Gordon definitely a fan favorite for some guys right now. But yeah, Julius Anderson, John Arndt, their only chance of making it into the chase at this point, I believe, is winning this race. They don't want Elijah Gordon to win, but it is Elijah Gordon leading the field in the number 5. Julius Anderson, John Arndt, Trey Bartow, Daniel McMillan. Considering that Richard Kinghorn has fallen back in the 19, I believe McMillan's got a good shot at making it into the chase, but I'm not 100% sure. Same with Noah Cars. Noah Cars is right there on that bubble as well. Stuart Gratton is behind Caleb Hoffman. And it's the 32 of Marty Johnson, who's also up there in the points, and Alexander Rose already locked into the chase from his win last Saturday at Daytona. Anyways, it will be 4 laps to go, and the Rays dies in tubing 400. The green flag is back in the air here at Indianapolis. Elijah Gordon with the jump on Julius Anderson and John Arndt. But for Anderson and Arndt, if either of those guys win, they're locked into the chase, and the other guy most likely does not make it in. Gordon with a great jump there. Gratton trying to gain a position on Hoffman, but they're going to stay single file throughout the top 10. That's a great thing. We do not really want to see any more cautions in this race. John Arndt to the inside of Julius Anderson. His only chance of making it into the chase is winning this race. He's going to drive to the inside of the rookie driver. We'll see if he can make it stick. As they do that, Elijah Gordon pulls away a little bit in the number 5. Gordon trying to grab his 3rd win of the season. Bartow up the 3rd. McMillan running in the 5th position. And Noah Cars right behind him. I don't know who's going to make it into the chase on points, especially if Elijah Gordon wins. If Elijah Gordon does not win and John Arndt wins, McMillan and Cars may both get knocked out. It's possible that may happen, but I just don't know. It's going to be tight to the end of this one, and we're just going to have to see. John Arndt is closing in on his teammate Elijah Gordon, and if I were John Arndt's teammate, I'd let him by, because you want to make sure that John Ayers gets all 4 of his cars into the chase, and I think Elijah Gordon is going to do just that. John Arndt to the inside of the 5 for the lead. Elijah Gordon may contend a little bit, but John Arndt will drive away. Here comes Daniel McMillan and Stuart Gratton on the inside lane. But it's John Arndt in the 24 trying to grab the first ever win for the 24 team in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, taking the 2 to go signal in the Rays Dice M Tubing 400. Elijah Gordon Right behind him in second, Daniel McMillan, Stuart Gretton, and a guy who has never even won before on Napa Fan, Noah Cars in number 3. Gordon back to the inside of John Arndt for the lead with 1.5 laps to go. McMillan and Gratton. Gratton, if he finishes where he is, he's in the chase. I can tell you that right now. Same with Bartow, same with Garcia back in there. They're locked in. I believe Bouchard is good, and so is Marty Johnson. So if John Arndt wins this race, or Stuart Gratton wins this race, actually, I'm not really sure, but if John Arndt were to have won this race, because he's not going to win on that outside lane, then those have been the 5 guys making it in. But right now, Elijah Gordon's pulling away, and if Gordon wins this thing, it's between McMillan and Cars for that final transfer spot. John Arndt actually got back around Stuart Gretton. John Arndt might have a chance of winning this thing. Elijah Gordon still out front, but John Arndt trying to close in Gordon high through turn number 2, and Arndt will get the draft down the backstretch. His only chance is to beat the number 5. Will he do it here at Indianapolis? Gratton is in where he is running. Gordon is in because of his 2 wins this season, but John Arndt needs this victory. Will he get the run to the inside? There he goes, to the inside of his teammate. John Arndt trying to surpass the 5, but Elijah Gordon trying to get the outside lane to work yet again. They're going to be side by side at the line, and John Arndt is finally going to give that 24 a victory. John Arndt wins the Raised Dies and Tubing 400, and John Arndt is in the chase for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. How about that? One of the most unbelievable stories we have seen. He was massively deep in the points, outside the top 30 in the points standings, but he gets the victory and the automatic bid to the chase. With this victory here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, John Arndt wins the Raised Dies and Tubing 400. The number 24 has finally won in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. How about that? You know, John Arndt, he commented, I think was in the Kentucky race, saying, I haven't really been too interested because not much has been going on. I told him, yeah, the 24 is like, it's one of the worst cars in this series. I don't blame you. Well, I think you're going to get interested in it now, man. You're in the chase for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. John Arndt with the victory and the number 24. How about that? I didn't think John Arndt was going to win that thing. He was on that outside lane, coming to the white flag, and I thought, he's done. If you're on the outside lane, you're going to get stuck back, and you're going to fall back. But that did not happen. He found his way back to the inside, got around Stuart Gratton, and got around Elijah Gordon out for the final corner, there. And John Arndt with the win here in Indianapolis. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Stuart Gratton, he's in. I can tell you that. Trey Bartow, he's in. Ace Garcia, he's in. Bouchard and Marty Johnson, I believe they're in as well. And if that's the case, then that means that Noah Cars and Daniel McMillan, even after the very strong finishes they had in this race, are not going to make it into the chase. So I believe that Gratton, Bartow, Garcia, Johnson, and Bouchard make it in on points alone. And Kinghart, he was behind those guys. McMillan and Cars, I do not believe they gained enough on Bouchard and Johnson to surpass them. So I'm pretty sure it's Gratton, Bartow, Garcia, Bouchard, and Johnson making it into the chase on points alone. I'm pretty sure about that. But like I said earlier on, don't guarantee anything that I say here. I might not necessarily be right. All those guys back in there crashed in today's race. We had 4 cautions here in Indianapolis. Quite a bit of them here in this 32-lapper, but just the way it goes sometimes. A lot of those guys knocked out. But I'll tell you one guy who was not knocked out. That was John Arndt in the 24. He won the 500th race on Napa Fan back in early April, and this one might rank up with that one. John Arndt in the chase in the number 24, giving the 24 its first career victory in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And with that, I'm going to say this right now. Hendrick Motorsports, they've won the past 3 races here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. All 4 of their drivers are in the chase. They have 6 wins on the season. 6 of them. John Andrews, pat yourself on the back. You got some pretty good drivers driving on your team, I'll tell you that much. But how about today? How about this race? We're still not done yet. Let's go ahead and see the points. after the regular season has concluded, and then we will also award the playoff points to these drivers as well. So don't go away, don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back after this commercial break from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. John Arndt, your winner, here in the Raised Dies and Tubing 400.
Like a seasoned driver behind the wheel, Hers chips take you from caution flag levels of hunger to checkered flag feelings of satisfaction. When it comes to race day snacks, the signature crunch and endless flavors of Hers leaves the competition in a pile of chip dust. Don't settle for anything less than the champions of the chip aisle. Hers, forever good. Available at Menards.
And here are the points after the final race in the regular season, and all of the drivers that are in green will be in the chase for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And those in red, their championship hopes are done for the year, and it was exactly how I thought it was going to be. When the race ended, those 5 drivers that I mentioned that would get in on points alone did get in on points alone. Ace Garcia, Trey Bartow, Daniel Bouchard, Marty Johnson, and Stuart Gratton all making it into the chase on points. And you see the playoff points next to all of these drivers. Ace Garcia has the most of them because he is the points leader at the end of the season, 20 of those. Trey Bartow got 15 playoff points. Elijah Gordon got 14 playoff points, plus the 4 bonus playoff points from his 2 wins on the season. Alexander Rowe gained 13 playoff points, plus the bonus 2 points. Al Legacy got 12 bonus points, and so on, in order of the points standings. So not really much of a surprise, once this whole thing got tallied up here. But interesting thing is, all of the drivers who made it on points were still in the chase once this race started. So none of the guys in the red before this race started made it into the chase. The only guy that was still theoretically in the chase coming into this race that did not make it in was Richard Kinghart in the number 19. He missed out on the chase along with Noah Cars and Daniel McMillan barely. And you see Matt Tuck, Julie Sanderson, all these guys behind here, they missed out as well. These 4 guys are all in because of wins. John Arndt, the winner of this race, will get 5 playoff points. He got, I believe, 3 playoff points from his position in the point standings, along with the 2 bonus points he gets from his win here today. I think it's pretty straightforward. So the chase drivers for Season 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series are Ace Garcia, Trey Bartow, Elijah Gordon, Alexander Rowe, Al Legacy, Daniel Bouchard, Marty Johnson, Stuart Gratton, Blaine Keys, Ricky Stevenson, Caleb Hoffman, Isaac Nichols, Cameron Garlington, John Arndt, Cody Sill, and Matt Dallio. One of those 16 drivers will be your champion for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to John Arndt, the winner here at Indianapolis. And congratulations to the 16 drivers who have qualified for the chase in season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. I'd like to apologize to those guys who did not make it on, but don't worry, you'll still be racing. And some of you guys will probably get some wins before the season is over. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, here are the here are the point standings, I should say. Not the final point standings, but not there quite yet. Here are the updated point standings for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series season number 6. And that is it for me. I will see you guys later. full screen recording is not necessarily what I wanted to do. Stupid Bandicam.